All right, we are live. We are live. If you are on Facebook, I want you to come on over to YouTube because we're going to be discussing some things that are not very Facebook friendly, might not even be YouTube friendly. We are talking about whose fault is it? Whose fault is it for the problems in our community? Let's see. So if you are on YouTube, or excuse me, if you're on Facebook, again, I want you to come on and migrate over to YouTube. And I'm going to tell you, it is somebody's fault. Somebody is to blame. And it is either the men or the women that are most to blame. So I looked up some of the statistics. I looked up statistics with the CDC, the census, and the health department. But some of the statistics were so staggering that it was hard for me to continue my research. So let me show you some of the things that I found so far. Let me share my screen. So here are some of the problems that we have. Let me start off by saying my t-shirt, you see, make West Louisville a city. I'll be selling these t-shirts here soon, and we'll be working more about making West Louisville a city. But go ahead and migrate over to YouTube, like and subscribe to the video if you have not already subscribed. It's a new channel, so I need all the subscribers I can get. Let me share my screen. All right. Let me just check on this other. So what I'm sharing with you right now is the Center for Disease Control. And I'm just opening up my picture on, opening up my picture on my other camera just so I can see myself. See what's going on here. There I am twice. So let me see. This is the one I'm going to remove. All right. So let's look at some of the statistics. Turn this volume down. Okay, so the health of Black or African American non-Hispanic population. And by that phrasing, what they're meaning is American. Turn this all the way down. There we go. So in place of the word Black and or the word African American, what they mean is the American population, because in America there are Americans and there are a lot of different nations that are here in America. So we have Europeans inside of America. We have different Asians, East Indians in America. We have Chinese in America. We have Africans, whether they're Nigerians inside of America. We have Ghanaians inside of America. We have a lot of different nationalities inside of America. But when this is referring to, when this says Black people or African Americans, they're referring to the American population, because the people they call Black are the Americans. They're the original people that were here before, even before the Chinese that came over the Bering Strait. So let's look. In obesity, just look at some of these statistics. So we are a very fat people. So the people 20 and over with obesity is 40%. So 38.7% of the men 38.7% of the men that are over 20 years old are obese or fat. Of the women, the American women, 20 years and over, almost 60% of our women are fat or obese. 60%, that's 55.9%, or you could say 56%, or you could say 60%. 55.9% of our women 20 years and older are fat or obese. And again, the question that I have for the broadcast is, whose fault is it? Because it's somebody's fault. No matter what happens, somebody did it. So let's see. Hypertension means blood pressure. So the percentage of men 20 and over with hypertension, or measured high blood pressure, or taking antihypertensive medication, is 56.8%. So 60% of our adult aged men have hypertension or high blood pressure. 60%, or 56.8% of our adult aged men 20 years and older have high blood pressure. Of our women 20 years and older, 57.6% of our women have high blood pressure, 20 years and older, which means we're eating the wrong foods. Blood pressure is all dealing with the foods that you eat, whether it's salt intake or just eating things that aren't plants and, fruits and vegetables. So let's see, what else do we have that was interesting? And then the leading cause of death. On here, it says it's heart disease. But I'm going to get off of Facebook so that I can show you the real leading cause of death. Because it's not heart disease. The CDC says that it's heart disease. But another government entity says it's something else. But let's move on to the mortality rate. Let's see. The mortality rate. This is mortality trends. Oh wait, I didn't share this particular. Hold on. I need to share my new screen. Let's see who's in here. Hold on. Okay, so I'm inviting you over to the comment section. I want you to come and comment so that we can be interactive. So it's an interactive stream. Let's see. Hold on. I want you to comment on the stream so that it's an interactive stream. And if anybody else wants to cam up, I invite you to do so, and we can have this discussion together. Again, this is somebody's fault. This is somebody's fault in our community. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh yeah, we're on the mortality. So I'm just showing you some of our problems. Let me show you this. I'll continue to show you these staggering statistics. Here's the mortality rate. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Hold on. Mortality trends by race and ethnicity among adult aged 25 and over in the United States. This is between the years 2000 and 2017. I'm going to, if you can read this, make it a little bit bigger, just so you can read some of this stuff that I'm not going to read. I've read it already, but let's see. Well, this just talks about the decrease in mortality rate by race, and the races that they divided it into is um, black, white, and non-Hispanic white. So by black, they're talking about the Americans. By white, they're talking about Europeans inside of America. And by Hispanic, they're talking about the mixed race people who are found in the Spanish speaking countries, like Mexico. Mexico meaning MEX is the same as MIX. It's like Mexico, the mixed skin people or the mixed kin people. Okay, so look at this right here. So here is the deaths per 100,000 of the population. Death per 100,000 of population. So here, for the non-Hispanic black population, or the Americans, the North Americans they're referring to, we have 1,700 or 1,700 deaths per 100,000 people in the population. That was in 2000, and by 2017 it decreased to was about 1,400. It looks like about 1,400 deaths per 100,000. Now, the numbers are relevant when you look at what the others people's rate are. So for the Europeans inside of America, or non-Hispanic white, they're referring to the Europeans inside of America. You can see our lowest point is higher than their highest point, right? So we die more than anybody else. Our life expectancy is lower than any other group of people inside of the United States or inside of North America. So here's the green line is for the whites. Can you see that? I'm enlarging it, but it doesn't look like it's making it larger on this screen. But hopefully you can see what I'm saying. So again, this black line right here, can you see my arrow? This black line right here is the non-Hispanic blacks, which are the Americans. This green line is the non-Hispanic whites, which are the Europeans living inside of America. This gray line are the Hispanics, which are the mixed race people who speak Spanish living inside of America. You see, the Hispanics have the highest life expectancy. And me and my mom were asking, well, what is it that the Hispanics are doing differently than the Americans and the Europeans that are inside of America? And then we figured it's the food. It's obviously the food they eat. They eat a lot of beans and rice and vegetables. Like even they eat a lot of hot sauces, a lot of onions, tomatoes, again, beans and rice, cilantro. They might eat pork, but again, we were saying it must be balanced out with all the other stuff they eat. Now, the Europeans inside of America, they eat almost as poorly as the Americans, but not quite as poorly. The Europeans inside of America, again, their life expectancy is lower than the Hispanics, but higher than the Americans. Now, what's going on with the Americans is that the whole economy is run by foreign people. So all the grocery stores are run by foreign people. Let's get out of this. Well, every industry is run by foreign people. Let me see how to get out of there. Okay. So every industry is run by foreign people. And what they do is they put stores inside of our areas. So the areas where there's a high population of Americans, North Americans, the people we call black people, They put items to eat that are not food, items that they give us to eat that are not fruits and vegetables. And if you eat things that are not fruits and vegetables, then you'll die. But first, you'll get fat, and then you'll die. And we don't control any of the economic systems, and we don't control any of the industries. Again, that goes back to the economics. So let's look at the next age range. We have from 25 to 40. Excuse me, from 25 to 44. So for the Americans, you see it's way up there. We start dying pretty significantly at the age of 25, it looks like. And you see that it gradually has gone down. Can you see my mouse? It looks like you can. Okay. It's gradually gone down as you go up in the years. So this is from 2000 to 2017. So by 2017, we're at a lower death rate than in the year 2000. Now, for some reason, the Europeans inside of America, their death rate has increased from 2000 to 2017. But there's a lot of reasons for that, and I'm not going to go into that just yet. But now, then, for the Hispanics, again, they have the highest life expectancy of all the groups. Let me close out of this. Okay, so you can see this. You see what the chart says. Let's look at the next age range from 45 to 64. And again, this is somebody's fault. Somebody is to blame. There's always somebody to blame. Somebody is to blame for all these problems. And I'm going to give you a hint before I get off of Facebook, so that you're not sweating too much, because I'm sure you want to know whose fault is it. Is it the men's fault or is it the women's fault? It's somebody's fault. Okay, so from 45 to 64. Okay, at 45, we're dying pretty strong. And then wait, hold on. No, excuse me. This is the years. So, okay, this is 45 to 64. Okay, it looks like if you get around 45 to 64, looks like fewer of us are dying? Hold on. No, that's at the thousands. This is at the okay, it goes up to 300 deaths per 100,000. This one is, okay, no, this is high. Okay. So anyway, you see again, the Hispanics are the lowest of the death rate. They have the highest life expectancy. And again, you can see the disparity in the numbers, or this little graph that we have. And then once you get to 65 and older, by the year 2017, we die at a decrease, just slightly less decreased rate than the Europeans inside of America. But that's by 2017, which is interesting. I think that means if you get to 65, you probably were doing things correct. You were probably eating correct foods. You were probably exercising. You probably were not smoking, at least not as much. So it looks like if you made it to 65, you're doing the right things, and you're not dying at a higher rate than the Europeans inside of America. Okay, there's that. Now the Hispanics again. What are they doing? They're doing something right. They have the highest life expectancy inside of America. So let's stop sharing this. All right. So I'm gonna get right to it. Before I get off of YouTube, right? I'm gonna tell you whose fault first. Whose fault do you think it is? Do you think it's the men's fault or do you think it's the women's fault? I didn't even tell you what the most staggering statistic is yet. Well, hold on. Before I get off of YouTube, let me see, or Facebook. Let's see. How do you get off of these? I am live. There has to be a way to get off of here. Probably press remove. Okay, I'm about to get off of Facebook, y'all. If I figure out how to do it, I'm getting off of Facebook. I'm just going to go to YouTube. So you're going to have to come on over to YouTube. Look up. Let's see. Hold on. Let me get this. Let me get this phone so I can tell y'all what to look up. I'm gonna put it in the chat. One sec. One sec. But it's somebody's fault. Okay, I hear both. You know what? When I did a poll on Facebook, and that's what a lot of people were saying. They were saying both. They were saying both. I'm actually now I understand. I understand what people are saying. I guess my big point is who's most to blame. Somebody's more to blame than the other. Let's see. Okay, Facebook. Does it say that I'm live? Hold on, y'all. Okay, here I am. Here I am. Here I am. Okay, so maybe I can put it. Stay on Facebook. Stay on Facebook. Stay on Facebook. Stay on Facebook. Okay. Okay, I'll stay on Facebook. Let's see. Hold on. Okay. So okay. Both. And stay on Facebook. You know what? I am going to do as I am told, and I am going to stay on Facebook. So then, since I'm on Facebook, I'm not going to tell you who. Not yet. I am not going to tell you who. If you're on Twitch, go ahead and tell me what you think about this topic so far. If you are on Facebook, also no YouTube. That's ultimately I want you to come on over to YouTube so I can get these subscribers up. Subscribe to the show. No. I'm going to do what you said the first time. I'm going to stay on Facebook. Okay, hold on. Let's do this. I'm about to show you what actually made me really sad. And so I'm going to first tell you whose fault it is. A lot of the women think that it's the women's fault. A lot of the women think that I'm going to say it's the women's fault. And I think that makes some of the women nervous, you know. It's not the women's fault. The women are going to do what the society tells us to do. The men are too, but the women are going to do what the society tells us to do. The group whose fault it is the men. The group whose fault it is are the men. It's the men's fault that we have all these problems in our society. It's the men's fault that we're fat, that we die at a high rate, higher than any other people. It's the men's fault that we don't control any of the economics. It's the men's fault that we don't control any of our industries, which again, like I mentioned before, is the economics. Let me show you this next thing. Let me show you this. Can you see this? Let's see. Hold on. Yes, you can. Okay. Look at this. Perceiving and addressing the pervasive racial disparity in abortion. Now, these are the statistics that it's hard to even say what it made me feel like. But let me tell you why it's the men's fault for all these problems. Because we got conquered and we lost the war. Let me go back. I want to see myself. Let's see. Let me close out this. Stop sharing that screen. I think everybody should take accountability, but women have gotten out of control. I do understand that. Hold on, let's see. Something's going on with this. Let me make sure that this is plugged in correctly, because it would be a travesty if we went off of live while we were live. Okay, I think we are good now. Are we good? I think we're good. Okay. So, where was I? Something about it's the men's fault. We lost the war. We didn't repel the invasions. All right, how you doing, Uncle? We didn't repel the invasions. And now that even now that there's multiple nations that are inside of America, it's okay that there's multiple nations inside of America. But we've allowed we've allowed ourselves to be outpopulated in our own country, in our own homeland. There are 300 million Europeans inside of America, something like that. How many Americans are there? I think there are 40 million Americans. And the what they would call the non-native black people inside of America is extremely high. The non-native black people is getting is moving towards outnumbering our own population. The Hispanic population either has surpassed us or is scheduled to surpass us in just a few years. And then it's our fault. It's the American men's fault for all of the travesties, all of the problems in our community. Because we're the leaders. If a team loses, it's more the team captain's fault than it is the other players. It's more the coach's fault than it is the other players. And when you go to war, right? You don't go to war. You don't go to war to fight the women. You go to war to fight the men. And then what do? You take the women, and they do what you say. You take them and you. I can't say the word on here, but you take advantage of them sexually during war. This is what happens. And then what happens? The invading force takes on the indigenous women as their wives, and then the women go on to raise the children of whoever the invading force is. So if we know what the nature of things are, we know what women do no matter what nation we're talking about. Whose fault was it? Whose fault is it? Okay, but let me get to this. Let me get to this real quick. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Oh, yeah, not hold on. Let me hold on. Let me get to this. We're going back to the abortion statistics. click on this. Share that. All right. Okay, perceiving and addressing the pervasive racial disparities in abortion. Okay, Black women, they mean American women. They mean North American women. So Black women, North American women have been experiencing induced abortions at a rate nearly 4 times that of white women. They meant European women living inside of America. I'm going to reread this. North American women have been experiencing induced abortions at a rate nearly 4 times that of European women living inside of North America for at least 3 decades and likely much longer. You see this part that I have highlighted? It says the impact in years of potential life lost, given abortion's high incidence and racial skewed distribution, indicates that it is the most demographically consequential occurrence for the minority population. Okay, so that sentence. The impact in years of life, the impact of years of potential life lost, given abortion's high incidence and racially skewed distribution, indicates that it is the most demographically consequential occurrence for the minority population. By minority, they're talking about the North American people, the North American population. Okay, so they're saying that abortion affects us more than any other thing, any single racial disparity, as they might call it. The greatest racial disparity is in the abortions. So this number, I'm going to show you. So this number where it says 4 times that the North Americans have 4 times the abortions of the Europeans that live inside of American women, the women who live inside of America who are European women. That number, they'll tell you a little bit later on that number is even much higher, but they can't tell you how much higher. And the reason they can't tell you how much higher is because there's 5 states that will not report. There are there are 5 states that won't report the racial disparities in abortion rates in their states. There's 5 states that won't report the racial distribution of abortions. And of those 5 states, have over half of all the abortions in the country, but they won't report which race is doing the abortions. Most of the other states will report what race is doing, how many North American women are aborting their children, how many European women inside of America are aborting their children, how many people who are designated as Hispanic people inside of America are aborting their children. But these 5 states won't give the numbers, and there's a good reason. Oh, and those 5 states have 1/3 of all the North American women of childbearing age. Okay, so let's keep going. Hold on, there was something else. I'm going to go back and show you something here in a minute, but I'll just tell you first. In North America, 20% of the humans are aborted. Of all the, is it just crazy to me? Is it just crazy to me, or does anybody else understand what I'm saying? It looks like my Wi-Fi is a little bit low. Hopefully I'm not choppy. But make sure people know that when you say North Americans, you're referring to Black Americans. Okay, yes, I am. Okay, so when I say North Americans, I'm referring to Black Americans. And we could go on about whether the Black Americans are actually the North Americans or are actually the indigenous people. Maybe just so that you understand what I'm saying. I'm going to go ahead and say black people, white people, and all this other sort of color stuff, so that people understand what I'm saying. Okay, so let's go back to our crazy statistics. Okay, so I'll reread this. Black women have been experiencing induced abortions at a rate nearly 4 times that of white women for at least 3 decades. Okay, you can read that. Abortion affects the American, excuse me, um, the black people inside of America are being affected by abortion more than any other racial disparity. So, what was it that I wanted to show you? Hold on, it's in here. What is it saying? Okay, this just talks about saying that life begins at conception, right? The sperm is alive, it's over moving around and everything. It meets the egg, boom, you have life. The cells start to divide into multiple cells. Those are living creatures, and they divide this, and that those cells are inside of that embryo, that egg. All that is one life, right? It starts at it starts at the sperm, but let's say it starts at the sperm and the egg, and yeah, that's life. And so that's what this sentence is saying. While induced abortion maintain no while reduced by induced abortion remains a contentious political issue, there is no credible scientific doubt that a unique human life begins at conception and therefore ends with an abortion. Okay, it talks about Bill Gates and Melinda Gates being abortion friendly. But even they say that they have acknowledged the critical importance of a child's first 1,000 days after conception in determining a healthy and productive life trajectory to ensure that all children have an equal opportunity to survive and thrive. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Here we go. This is what I was mentioning before. You can read that paragraph yourself. Hold on. Okay, it's just talking about the rates decreasing and all that, whatever. This is the important sentence right here. It is also important to note that five states that did not report race-specific abortion data or no data at all in the case of California to the CDC, California, New York, Texas, Florida, and Illinois account for fully half of all U.S. abortions and a third of all Black women of childbearing age. Further, the CDC notes that non-reporting states have, quote, populations of minority women, so that the absence of their data reduces the representativeness of the CDC data, end quote. I'm reading and it continues. This means that the existing CDC report possibly underestimates the size of racial disparity in abortion nationwide. Of course, it's underestimating the the abortion rates, the disparity of abortion rates, what they call racial disparity, or they're low. They're not telling you how many Americans or Black people are being killed by abortions, and there's a reason why these five states, the ones who have half of all the abortions in the country, refuse to give accurate numbers. Now, if I was president, Two things. One, all these states would report, whether they like it or not, they will report what the numbers are. And then two, abortion would be illegal. No abortion. No abortion for anybody inside of America. Abortion, I consider abortion as a high evil. Let's keep reading. Let's see. Hold on. That might have been something that wasn't supposed to be on YouTube. I don't know. I mean on Facebook. Let's see. Okay, nobody's saying anything to me. So let's go on with this report. Here we go. Okay, I'm looking for when it started talking about Pennsylvania. Okay. Okay, so right here it's just you can read what it's saying. Okay, this is coming to the important information. One way to measure right here, one way to measure the impact of race-specific abortion rates on the size and demographic composition of the U.S. population is to calculate the years of potential life loss, or YPLL, from abortion, and to compare it and to compare its impact to other causes of death. Excuse me. Years of potential life loss is the preferred public health metric for quantifying the social, economic, and demographic loss resulting from premature death. It allows the estimation of the burden of premature death for any cause and can assess socioeconomic inequalities by race. Hold on, let me turn this off. As in our application, education, gender, or other available characteristics. Years of potential life loss, 75, is calculated by accumulating all years from the age at death up to 75. For all deaths, let me start that over. I'm understanding what it's saying now. So it says years of potential life loss, which is 75, that's the age. Years of potential life loss, 75, is calculated by accumulating all years from the age at death, which means from abortion, up to 75, or year 75, for all deaths for each cause of death. We selected the state Pennsylvania in 2018 to illustrate the years of potential life construct because of its relatively high abortion volume. And then I'm not really understanding what these numbers are. N equals 30,364. Very high Black abortion rate, 37.16, and a high racial disparity in abortion rate, 4.8. I think I know what those numbers mean, but I'm not really sure. Maybe let me see if somebody else has an idea of how to. I wonder if anybody else has an idea of what they mean by those numbers. You said I upset women? You upset women, especially Black women, when you speak against abortion. That's horrible. It's our fault. It's the men's fault. I mean, the women can be upset and everything, but I'm blaming the men. I mean, but yeah, abortion is horrible. Abortion is cruel. It's evil, and it's murder. Okay, let's continue. In Pennsylvania, this is what I wanted to get to. Did you read that already? Look at this here. I'm going to read it, but are you did you okay. In Pennsylvania, in Pennsylvania in 2018, there were 61,011 white deaths. These are premature. Wait, these are premature recorded deaths of all deceased persons up to age 75 plus abortions, from all causes, and 20,976 black deaths. Abortions were 23.9% of white deaths and 62.7% of black deaths. Okay, this is where I stopped and I was like, I don't know if I was going to look up homelessness and what else we have. I don't know. We're like with the highest in every bad thing. I was going to look up homelessness, um, joblessness. I was going to look up cigarette smoking. I was going to look up cancer. Cancer is one of the leading causes of death. But okay, remember what the CDC said. First, hold up. Do you know how many in Pennsylvania? And this is what happens in one state is what happens in many states. In Pennsylvania, 63% of all the black people who died in abortion. Like, and they're underreporting. Is anybody else? Am I the only one? Am I the only? I don't see anybody saying anything. I don't know. This is I'm not cursing, but I am. You just can't hear me cursing. This shit is crazy. Like, I even stopped. Like I said, I wasn't looking up anything else. What? Almost 70% of all deaths of Americans is abortions. Man, this shit is crazy. I'm very close to ending this stream, but again, it's the men's fault. It's the men's fault. Go ahead and send in your comments, your questions. If anybody wants to cam up, if anybody wants to add to this discussion, man, this is fucking crazy. Okay, you can look at this chart and whatever it says. Was there something else in here that was interesting? Abortion has been euphemistically described as a choice or a human right. Okay, it goes on and it ends. But okay, so if in Pennsylvania is reporting how many Americans are murdering their children, and they were reporting that somewhere between 60 and 70% of all the murders that happen in the North American population, in the Black American population, they're reporting that 60 to 70% of all the murders in the Black American population is in abortion. Where is that again? But again, right here, I'm going to read this sentence again. It is also important to note that 5 states that did not report race-specific abortion data or no data at all in the case of California to the CDC, California, New York, Texas, Florida, and Illinois account for fully half of all U.S. abortions and a third of all Black women of childbearing age. These 5 states have 1/3 of all the Black American women of childbearing age, but they won't report it. It's probably because it's higher than 60%. It's higher than 60% of all the deaths of Americans are happening in abortion. But I'm not here to preach. I'm here to tell you what's going on, and I'm here to tell you that it's the American men's fault. It's the Black American men's fault. It's our fault that all this. Did I say something incorrect? Hold on. Let me show you some of these. Black people have bought into the liberal agenda. Black women are killing our own babies. Men should be irate. I mean, I agree. No, really, that's what's going on. But it's the men's fault because it's the men who set society rules, and everybody else follows the rules. And now we have a group of foreign people inside of America calling themselves Americans. That's why I have to say I'm, Black people, white people, Hispanic people, Chinese or yellow people, or it's a group of foreign men that are controlling America. And again, the men set society, the men set the rules, and the women are going to follow the rules. So I mean, I'm not mad at the women. I'm not mad at the women. I'm not particularly mad at anybody. I'm telling you, this is how I see it to be. Men can't say anything because women and society will shame them. Yes, and I'm sure that the women who are listening to me, some of them might be cursing at me, and that is okay. I blame women for our conditions. I hear you. I blame the men. The men were the first ones to lose the war. Again, the women will go along. Okay. If I were to go and conquer Europe right now, I would make the men. How would you say? I would make the men irrelevant in society. They would either not exist, or the ones that do exist would not be the leaders of their families. They would not be the leaders of their communities. What would I do with the women? Is this me, or is this is just what men would? This is just what a nation would do. I'm not saying that I have the desire to do any of these things. I'm just telling you. So okay, I go up to Europe. Takes two. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Yeah. It takes two. Okay, so I go to Europe. I take my army to Europe. I conquer Europe. I take the men out of control. And I tell the women to do this and do that. And you know what the women are going to do? They're going to do what I say. Yes, it takes two. It takes two. I understand that. But again, I blame the men. We lost the war. And even, okay, so now we lost the war, right? And we're here. This is where we're at right now. Come to YouTube. If you haven't already, come to YouTube. Come to YouTube, show some love, press that subscribe button. You'll see it. There's a button, and press like the video. Help us get up in these algorithms. It's the men who set the society. So now we're conquered. Like I was saying, we're conquered. So what do we do now? How do we solve this problem? Well, first we need to take control of our land. So again, Black Americans, which is a silly name to call a group of people, right? What's black? Do I have a black thing here? Let me show you. What's black here? I have something black. Hold up. This is right here. This, can you see it? Can you see this? That's black. That black is the absence of color, or it's all the light. It's all the light combined, or it's the absence of light. It's like white and black are opposites, but at the same time, they're nearly the same thing, right? So then white is also either the absence of color or, oh, wait, here we go. This is white. This is black. This is neither white nor black. This is what the Americans look like. I don't have a penny right now, but if you were to take a penny out of your pocket, let me pull this up. What is an American? Hold on. American definition. I think it was what, 1828? There we go. Okay, let's see. Share this screen. So that you understand why I'm saying, not saying black, not saying white. Thank you. This is a penny. Let me show you the definition of American. I'll hold this up. Stop sharing whatever I was just sharing. Oh, I'm happy. I don't want to look like I'm not happy. It's just this isn't the most joyous information that I've come across. Okay. Can you see this? Am I sharing yet? I should be sharing. American. Yeah, it is sharing. American, noun. A native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by Europeans, but now applied to descendants of Europeans born in America. Okay, copper-colored. This is what is meant by copper. This is copper-colored. You see how it's this is shiny copper, copper-colored. See that? I'm an American. Now, okay, right, that was the 1828 Webster's definition of American. That was the first definition of American that existed. And by Aboriginal, they mean the original. In this instance, ab meaning from. Sometimes usually it means away from. But in this case, it's meaning from. Ab, and then original means the first. It could also mean, ab means it's almost like of America, right? So what do we do to solve this problem? Is there anything else I wanted to share with you? Let's see. Hold on. Let me see. Oh yeah. No, I stopped. I didn't want to look up any more disparities. I mean, goddamn, we're murdering our children. You know, by 70% of all the deaths, between 60 and 70% of all the deaths of American people is happening in abortions. Okay, so how do we solve this problem? Yes, the etymology of ab is from. Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily like that term, aboriginal. I mean, it's the term that they use, but what they're referring, of course, what they're referring to is the original people, or of the original people. Are we going to talk about the system targeting black communities, families, or the inception of Planned Parenthood, Margaret Singer, and the eugenics movement? Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can definitely, yes, we will. But again, I'm saying, so I mean, when a group comes and invades your country, comes and invades your land and conquers your land, the part of conquering is killing the people, right? So I mean, it only makes sense that they're, yeah. It's not like the women just one day decided, hey, I. It's not like the women decided to just one day do this. There was a targeted, well planned eugenics movement that occurred. There was the invaders made sure. I'm late to the show. I'm late to the shore, but what sources are you using here? I was using the CDC. Um, uh, so I was using sources from the CDC. I was using sources from, what's this other government entity? Hold on. I'm gonna get back to the sources in just a sec, right? Okay, so right, so when a nation comes and conquers your land, they come. They're not coming to give you gifts. They're not coming to help you out. They're not coming to make your life better. They're not coming. They're not coming for any of those positive things. They're coming to conquer and kill the people so that they can take the land and take control of the people. They they kill the men first. They take the men out of control. They don't allow the men to rule their families. But if you kill all the people, then there's nobody to rule. And it's actually hard to kill everybody at once. So you have to do something that's systematic and over a time period. Because if you just all went all out war, if they went all out war, they would lose. That's why they don't do it. Because if they could, they would. So yeah, so part of what they decided to do was to form what they call the eugenics movement, which eugenics is referring to keeping the genetics, whatever the genetics that is desired of a particular group, and ultimately eliminating the genetics that are not desired from whichever group is implementing the eugenics movement. So yeah, Margaret Singer. Maybe you can give us a little more information on that. I mean, I do know the information on it. Margaret Singer is one of the people who was who championed Planned Parenthood. Was a part of several groups that we might call white supremacist groups. And she put so Planned Parenthood, they put all the abortion, they put the majority of the abortion clinics into the black community. I don't like the word black. They put the majority of the abortion clinics into the American populated communities, either outside of it or right inside of it, and then encouraged us to go ahead and have these abortions. So I mean, it's like I said, it's not that we just up in one day chose to stop giving birth to our children. I mean, so it's that, and it's also the culture of whoring, right? It's the culture of let's say men and women, but I mean particularly, it's the culture of having our women having indiscriminate sex, and sex makes babies. I mean, this is like This is elementary. Sex makes babies. You have sex, you have babies. And then people get surprised. Oh, I had a baby when I had sex. And then so they're surprised about it, and they're like, but I'm not ready for a baby. All the commercials say that I can abort. I mean, there's these pills, right? That is still a form of abortion. There's these plan B pills, which means the plan A was not to have sex, right? And then plan B is hey, since I had sex and there's a baby inside. There's again, obviously life is the sperm meeting the egg. Plan B is it flushes your wound with blood and detaches the egg from the wound, and you pass the egg. That's a form of abortion. But basically, the people who have conquered us put all these different methods of how to kill our children, whether it's the Plan B pill or any other abortion pill, whether it's the go to the clinic and manually kill the child, whatever it is, it was all implemented and all orchestrated by a group of people who have conquered us. Now, let me first I guess this isn't first, but let me, as I'm talking, make some disclaimers and say that I don't have a problem with any people. I do have a problem with people murdering my people. Absolutely. And I'm going to stop that. But I don't have a problem with people who are here in America. I actually like to see people here in America. So, I mean, the Europeans that are in America, I welcome the Europeans in America. The Chinese that are in America, I welcome you here to America. The Africans that are here, I welcome you here to America. However, the Americans are the original people. Hold on. What's that definition? Hold on. Okay. So this group of people are the Americans. Everyone else is another nation inside of America. And one of the biggest problems is that we're not even recognized as the American people. We're called Black people, which means a people of no nation. A people of no nation and no land. Black people who lack, who be lack, or who you could break it down to a couple things, or like 13 black. And then 13, the 13th letter of the alphabet is M. Yeah, I might be going on a stretch, but let's keep going. The 13th letter of the alphabet is M. More lack. There or even lacking melanin. I've heard that the first black people were actually the people we call white people because they do lack melanin. But okay. I want to say that I don't have any animosity against any other nationality. But I do want to make it clear that my nationality is American, and that any nation that is here in America is not to be here to conquer us. Come here to help us. Come here to share our culture. Don't come here to conquer us. I'm going to get to those sources in just a sec. People can put things in places. People can put things in place, but you don't have to do it. I agree. We have been complicit in our own enslavement and death. Now, to this point, I'm not going to go. Let me say, I just want to make a point with this. People can put things in place, but you don't have to do it. Agreed. However, if I go to any community and put heroin in the community, the people are going to do the heroin. If I go to any community and I put pornography in the community, the people are going to watch and engage in pornography. Oh, and that's a huge problem is pornography. If I were president, I would stop all pornography. There would be no more pornography. No more pornography. That's one of the things that makes our women unmarriageable. It makes our men unmarriageable. We're losing our sperm. We're not engaging with real women as men. The women think that this is a thing to do, to whore, to show their body on the internet. Oh man, you should see Facebook. I'll talk about whoring. Oh god damn. You know, I mean, as a society, there's things that we can do better. But most of the pictures that I see on Facebook, the women, the shot they take is they turn around, and then they look back at the camera and they're showing their ass, they're showing their butt behind. It's kind of like prostitution. It's kind of like whoring. Or they're in a bathing suit and you can see, the only thing you can't see is inside the vagina, but you can see everything else. So I mean, the fact that we even have pornography makes it to where that people think that they can do it. I mean, we have pornography. They talk about not slut shaming. They put it in our community that we can do all these crazy things that will destroy a society, and then we do it again. I don't eat a lot of sugar, but when somebody puts sugar in the house, I end up eating it. But I don't eat sugar. I was going to say a few other things that I've stopped doing, but if it's present and it keeps coming in my face, it's even pornography. I've read a statistic that said 95%, is it 95% of all men use pornography, look at pornography? Because I mean, it's on your phone. Like, let me show you how easy it is to get on pornography. I'm not going to pull it up, but it's 1 click, 2 clicks, 3 clicks, 4 clicks, and most times you can do it in less than that. That's how easy but because it's that easily available, people are going to do it. So I mean, I'm just saying, I do agree that you don't have to do it. You don't have to watch pornography, because pornography is readily available for the whole world. But 95% of the men in the world have watched pornography. What does that leave the children? That the infants that aren't watching pornography? Am I making this statistic up? Hold on. Okay, let's go back to those sources. Who said, what sources am I using? So let me share this screen again. Okay, stop sharing the American. I'm an American. I'm copper colored. Here's the penny. See the resemblance? Okay. Let's go to share screen. So what sources am I using? Let's go back to the first. Okay. Can you see this? Let me hold on. Get back into here. Let me push mute. Bear with me just a moment. I might need to mute that. Okay, there's 2 of me on here. Hey, hold on 1 sec. Let me remove this guy out of the chat. Let me go back to, what was I sharing? I'm sharing the CDC. See? Whoa. I don't know if that are those are gunshots. We're going to continue. That is certainly a gun. Yeah, that's a. Yeah, that was sound targeted too. Hold on. Hold on. I was that was a big distraction, and I'm going to. I showed you. Okay, that part of this part of the information I was showing was from the CDC. So we are going to let's continue. Let's continue. Let's continue. Okay, so I was sharing statistics from the CDC, as you see right here. CDC for disease, or Center for Disease Control and Prevention. And this was health of Black or African American non-Hispanic population. This is stuff that I went over earlier. Are people, the Americans or the Black Americans are generally fat. The men, about 40% of our men are fat or obese. About 60% of our women are fat or obese. Hypertension is dealing with blood pressure. So again, over 20, if you're over 20, the men, about 60% of our men have high blood pressure. Over 20, about 60%. When I say "are," I'm talking about Black American men. Over 60% of Black American women have high blood pressure. The leading causes of death. This says heart disease and cancer, and COVID-19 is so heart disease and cancer. But again, we just saw that abortion is actually the leading cause of death in the Black community. And then where did I get my other information from? What am I sharing now? Hold on. Thank you, Uncle. Thank you. Let's see, where am I getting my other information from? I would share the screen again. And you're probably asking about the abortion information, maybe? Let's look. Abortion. This is from National Library of Medicine, National Center of Biotechnology Information. It says an official, can you see where my mouse is? Right here. An official website of the United States government. This is can you see that .org? I can't make a .org. You can't make a .org. Nobody can make a .org unless the government gives you permission. Okay, let's see. Then here's another source. Another source that I was using. Where's my penny? I think I dropped my penny. Here's the other source. The definition of American. This is the Webster Dictionary. This is the first Webster's Dictionary in 1828. And usually in the first edition of any publication, they lie less than the more recent publication, right? So they first tell you the truth because they're really not really speaking to us as an audience. They're speaking to themselves and generally just speaking in scientific means. And then once they get to later editions, they're removing terms or redefining terms. But again, this says American, a noun, a native American noun, a native of America. which means let's use native to mean the original people of America. So now, a native of America originally applied to the aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans. That should be a period. Actually, it should be from here to here, right? But okay, found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Even right here is saying that the Europeans born in America are not American, but the term is being falsely applied or inaccurately applied to Europeans being born here. And then, they come up with different policies that say if you're born here in America, you could be from Saudi Arabia and born here in America and you become an American, but it's just not the truth. Let's see what else. So those are where I got the statistics from. Some of the statistics. I was also using the Department of Health and Human Services, Department of Health and Human Services, using the census. But everything that I've said, you can definitely look up and check it out. But again, how do we solve this problem? We solve this problem by getting the people who caused the problem in the first place to fix it. Who caused the problem? The American men caused the problem. The Black American men caused the problem because we lost the war. Yes, there will always be people invading your country. That has gone on since I've read in history. And how do you solve the problem? You solve it by taking back control of your country. You take back control of your land. You have to identify as the Americans. If you identify as a Black people from nowhere, of no land, of no nationality, then you're going to lose. That's a losing bet. Stop being Black people. We have to first identify as the people of the land. You identify as the Americans. That's one. Two, you take control of your politics because the politics controls all the laws of the land. So you need the highest form or the highest office of the land. You need to be the president. We have to have an American president, a Black American president, not a what was it? Obama was he was a mixed Kenyan and a European. We have Trump. People like Trump. Trump wasn't so bad. Trump is a German. We have the current president. He is from somewhere in Europe. What we need, so again, we need to identify as the Americans. We need to take control of our land. There's a lot of ways to do that. We can take control of our land through the politics. We need to have families, two parent families, two parent households, with two parent households. So, single mothers, that can't be anymore. No more single mothers, no more single fathers. If there's a single mother, there's a single father, right? But no more women being the head of household. There needs to be man and woman in the house, and the man needs to run the household. If the man's in the house, that's what it's going to be in anyway. You need to take control of your economics. But more than anything, we need to say no to this system. So the United States is not America. The United States is a company inside of America. The United States is a company operating on the soil of America. So yes, we can become the president of the United States, but then we're still conforming to a group of people who have invaded our land and is telling us that this land is something else. So until we establish our own government, we have to be the president of this current government. The other things that the American men can do is to come together as American men. We need to meet and we need to stop the murderers. Abortion is one thing. That is a horrendous thing that needs to stop. But another big problem is the American men, the Black American men murdering Black American men. And it's only us that can stop it. We have to stop them. And ultimately, the way I see it is a murderer deserves death. But what I'm saying is that the laws that we put in place need to fit the crime. So these murderers living out a peaceful life, or these murderers never getting caught, all that has to end. And it's going to be it's going to be the American men, or the people we call Black American men, that are going to stop that. So we have to stop before we do most things. We're going to have to stop the Black American men that are murdering Black American men. And a lot of people are frightened by even that concept of doing it. But I mean, a lot of our men have become pussies and have become, some of our men are even castrating ourselves and acting as if we are women. But then even the being all scary and not stopping the men who are murdering people, that's not very manly. So what we're going to have to do is, again, stop the murderers, take control of our politics. But first and foremost, we have to be Americans. And then, of course, we're going to have to marry our women and help our women. We all have these disparities. Like I said, our people are fat. Like, shit's crazy. And so we can help our men and our women lose weight. And make it not acceptable for women to be promiscuous, because that makes women unmarriageable. And I could pull up all sorts of statistics, but do I really have to? What we really need to do is, again, take control of our society. This isn't as hard as a lot of people think it is. But hey, is there anybody else that wants to hop in? Anybody who wants to hop on the camera, say something? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are your thoughts? And have you gone to YouTube and subscribed to the channel? Have you gone to YouTube and liked the video? There's going to be a lot of other things that we have on here. Let me, as we wrap up, I'm going to say a little more. Again, you can see this shirt. Make West Louisville a city. That's one of the things that we are working on in West Louisville, Kentucky. West Louisville is over 80% American population, indigenous American population. It's over 80% Black American population. And part of taking over the politics or recapturing, controlling the politics again, it would be forming our Black cities, or forming predominantly American populated cities, to where we run our own semi-government. Of course, it's still a part of the structure of the United States of America, which is a corporate entity. But in forming our cities, forming Black cities, it will help us we'll be our own mayors. We will be able to control the millions of dollars that a city takes in. The city takes in money from the government. The government gives cities money. And also the city is in itself a corporate entity. So you incorporate a city, you're making a business, and then the city has to not raise funds, but has to produce goods. So again, You'll increase your economics. You'll increase your political control. You'll decrease the murder rate, because if you're making the laws, then you can put the correct punishment to the crimes. And also, you would also have your own police force. We're talking about an 80% black, an 80% indigenous American population. And by indigenous American, I'm not talking about the Chinese looking people on reservations. No slight against them, but by indigenous population, I'm talking about the copper colored races found here. So we have an 80% black population in West Louisville. Whatever government jobs there are will be filled by the population that makes up that particular area. So then we would be all of the government. And then we can do this all over the United States, all over North America, create predominantly black cities. And this will be one of the things that helps us to regain our political control over our community. And again, like I said, it will lower the murder rate because we have our own police force. We control our laws. We're hiring people. We're giving people jobs. And then when you give people jobs, they don't want to do the things that end up leading to murder and death in general. So I don't want to go too long with this stream. I don't see anybody coming on that wants to get on the cam. I'm going to give just a few more moments if anybody wants to leave a comment or wants to come on the cam and say anything. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate everybody who's come out and has listened to me give this discussion and has joined in and participated. Again, before you go, or if you're watching this later on, make sure you subscribe to the channel, help out the channel, return to the channel, because we'll be having more shows, better shows, and better production. Right now, this is the beginning stages, so stay tuned and see where we go.